What's up guys, I'm the world's best Spanish coach. I book lessons exclusively on METAFY. So if you want a galaxy brain like me, click the link in the description and sign up to learn from a goddamn Chad. What's up guys, so episode 2 of this series, you probably know the drill already, right? So I'm not gonna waste your time, let's get right into it. Fox. So with this character, something you have to realize versus Fox is that you have to kind of let him find ways to open up your defense and specifically your shield game. Because Fox is particularly poor at dealing with shields. His grab stinks. His shield pressure, it can be like okay with like nairs. Like he can like pressure it safely, but he can't really poke it down easily and chip it. And he has a lot of things that you can punish on block, like dash attacks, poorly spaced neutral airs. Like he generally struggles to get around it. So when you're playing against Fox, I'm not saying spam shield, but you don't want to swing that much versus him when he has to open you up. And in fact, he wants you to swing a lot. He wants to like start pushing like whiffs with like lots of buttons and his mobility. So if you don't give him that, the game gets a lot harder for him, and especially because he's such a bad character disadvantage. You know, Fox players can try to risk like being aggressive and hitting your shield, but like one mistake can cost him a stock. So like, you know, Fox players don't want to make mistakes, and by almost forcing them to take risks, you're forcing them to potentially make mistakes. When it comes to Pikachu, he has a huge punish window for Tejo when he's using it. Like if I do this, I can't do anything to touch the ground. Look, I can't do anything, right? Like I just can't. So he has to do like double jump Tejo to be able to do anything before he lands. That's how, like, look how much lag this is, right? That's a big window where if you're ready for Tejo, you can run up to him and just hit him. You can jump at him. You can run underneath him and do like a smash. There's a lot of ways you can deal with that. You can also go up and just clank the Tejo. Like if you do that and you're here, Pikachu also struggles because he is very slow in the air, like very slow. Look at his airspeed. And his hitboxes, while they're annoying because he's small, aren't really big. So he can't contest like most characters' hitboxes well at all. So it lets you put a lot of pressure on him if you're ready for T-Jolts very aggressively, and that's a big deal because lightweight character can't trade, can't reach space versus big hitboxes, relies on getting his T-Jolts out. Also, since screw Pikachu, right? A little piece of advice. He is pretty easy at 2-frame. His up B in general is just kind of easy at 2-frame, not much else to say about it. And a lot of Pikachu players tend to have specific habits with their up B to avoid that if you start 2-framing them. A lot of them might do like this, right? And the thing about that is that's very laggy. If you're ready for it, you could just block it and punish. So when fighting Pikachu players, get used to recognizing their recovery habits, because a lot of them do have specific habits that I've ready for. You can exploit his up B to ledge. You can exploit his then forced up B to stage. And side B to ledge is not really an option versus like players reacting to it. So you actually become pretty easy to edge guard, surprisingly, once you do all that stuff. Pikachu's overrated, by the way. That's all I'm saying. Versus Luigi, one of the simplest pieces of advice I can give you is just feel free to take damage versus him. Like, don't be afraid to get hit by like random aerials as long as he can't combo those into grabs. Because, you know, he death combos people at 0 pretty consistently, but once you're like these like lower mid percents, he still gets a lot of damage off his combos. Don't judge me, Luigi players, I can't combo with him. But it's not gonna kill you, you can take it. So honestly, versus character, I basically refuse to shield at low percents. Like if he dash attacks me for not shielding, that's fine. I can play around that, and I also am okay with getting dash attacked, honestly. But you really want to make sure he can't get those death combos on you, because he's a significantly less scary character once he can't get that. And like I said, the key to dealing with, like to doing that, is to just not shield and focus on your movement and spacing. And also platform camping can be pretty good versus him as a result. Versus Ness, when you're fighting him, you want to respect him off stage, because his offstage game is really hard to contest sometimes with his great air mobility and his big aerials with good frame data and just like how much damage he gets off like doing this into a combo. However, he relies on his double jump to get this stuff going. So when you're fighting Ness, you want to really look out for the double jump and bait it out, force it out. And if you can't do that, if they're not like getting baited into double jumping, you want to pressure him hard and punish him for not using that double jump. Because once he has to up B, once he doesn't have this as like an option, he is significantly easier to fight off stage and kill. And like that's why it's so scary to be Ness off stage, because good players will exploit that. But if you're not exploiting that, Ness player is just gonna kind of jump on stage for free, and you're gonna take damage and be like, wow, this is lame. What do I do versus this? Versus Falcon, you actually want to choke out his stage control by being pretty aggressive with where you are on the map. Because Falcon's a character who wants to be running around a lot. He loves being like dash around, jump around, whatever. But he's a decently big target. His frame data is like, it's good, but it doesn't feel like phenomenal sometimes. And his movement's really good, but it's also pretty committal. Like his dash, like that's a pretty committal dash. As a result, if he's like stuck in the corner and he can't really dash at you, if he has to like jump at you without like a lot of room to like really mix up his jumps, he's gonna struggle a lot. So it's actually a bad idea to try and camp him out like where Prime Plan is right now. But let's say we're in this situation instead. This is phenomenal. Even like in this kind of situation, this is phenomenal. Because now Falcon's forced to like choose options you could just stuff out pretty consistently. And combining that with this bad disadvantage state means that when he's in the corner, if you hit him off stage, he is potentially just dead if you edge guard rail. Not like guaranteed, but it's very doable. Versus Jigglypuff, you do not want to stay in the air long versus her. Because even if her range stinks, her airspeed means if you jump at her and like you whiff the aerial, you're super vulnerable to her just like going like, oh, you whiffed? Let me just get in your face and punish you. And you might be a character with like, you know, poor ground game, not much range there, whatever. But even those characters can generally contest Jigglypuff because she just doesn't have disjoints. Because she doesn't ever have a ground game. Because she's so like, you can see where she's going. You can enter her easily with basically any character. So it is very important when you're jumping to stay in the air for as little as possible and to do it like when it's really good times. And otherwise just play very grounded and basically let her make mistakes. With that, guys, that's really it for the video. You know, I hope this was helpful like always, and I'll catch you for the next one. And if you haven't checked it out, I do have a Patreon. I am uploading content to regularly. Match analysis, lesson VODs, AMAs, all that stuff. So if you want to check it out, I'd appreciate it. And of course, I have a METAFY as well. You can check out if you want to get lessons from the one and only Galaxy Brain. You know, a lot of people got those and improved a lot from them. So just saying, it's a pretty good idea. Alright, peace. Follow up on these like 2-2 well, I'd say, if you're like not gonna kill by max range fireballs. Actually, scratch that. Let's try this again. To make him like want to use double jump, have to use double jump. Also, I was leaning back during this. I'm just gonna try this again.